If you are hearing these words right now, this is not by chance, and it is not an accident. This moment has been divinely arranged, a sacred interruption where heaven leans close and speaks directly into your life. There is a reason this message found you when it did, because the weariness you've been carrying, the sense of running in circles, the quiet fear about what comes next, and the pressure that has weighed on your mind and finances have not gone unseen. You have been trying for so long, giving your best with little visible return, and at times it has felt as though life paused while everyone else kept moving. God sees the exhaustion behind your strength and the doubt you never voiced, and He is not silent about it. This is a moment of recognition, a moment of reassurance, a moment where what felt stalled begins to loosen. Scripture whispers confirmation into this space. Though the vision tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not delay. Habakkuk 2-3. The season of pressing without progress is closing. The heavy cycle is breaking, and a divine shift has already begun beneath the surface. What God has prepared is nearer than it appears, and anticipation is rising because the ground beneath you is changing. Stay here, because what comes next will confirm what your spirit has already started to feel and activate what has been waiting to move. Right now, wherever you are, engage this moment as an act of faith like this video to mark your agreement. Subscribe to remain aligned with what is unfolding, and declare this new season by typing 777 inches the comments, not as a habit, but as a prophetic declaration that you are stepping into what God has prepared. Chosen one, you have been carrying weight that was never meant to rest on your shoulders, and heaven has seen the exhaustion behind your effort, the quiet tears, the financial strain, the constant wondering if you are falling behind while time keeps moving. You have tried to stay faithful while results stayed distant, and at times it felt like life kept repeating the same chapter, no matter how hard you pressed forward. This message finds you because that hidden fatigue has been acknowledged and your perseverance has been recorded. Remain present. You were not weak for feeling tired, and you were not failing because progress felt slow. You were enduring a season that demanded strength beyond human limits. The pressure you felt was not random, and the silence was not absence. This is the moment where your spirit is named, seen, and affirmed, because the waiting was never wasted and the struggle was never pointless. This is the turning point. Your season of struggle is over. The chains of scarcity are breaking. The tide is turning. What felt locked is loosening. What felt delayed is shifting. And what felt heavy is lifting because the assignment has changed. It is no longer your duty to struggle. It is God's responsibility to provide for you. The burden is transferring, and peace is taking its place. Just as the sea opened for those who stood trapped between fear and promise, a way is being made where none seemed possible, not by force, but by divine command. You are not required to calculate every outcome anymore, nor to carry the fear of tomorrow as proof of responsibility. Hope is rising not as a wish, but as certainty, because what is unfolding does not depend on your strength. The same hand that sustained you in obscurity is now guiding you into clarity, and anticipation is growing because something you have long sensed is finally aligning. You may not yet see every detail, but you will feel the shift in how you breathe, how you rest, how you trust. Scripture confirms this assurance. Those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. Isaiah 40-31. This is not emotional hype. This is spiritual confirmation. What comes next will bring clarity to what your soul already knows, and the next part will unlock and affirm what has already begun to move within you. So remain here and let what follows complete what has just been activated. Chosen one, if this is speaking to you, support this message, like the video, subscribe, and write "I receive" in the comments. Now breathe and stay with me, because the next part is for the season you're in right now. Chosen one, you have been walking through a season where effort felt constant, but progress felt invisible, where you carried responsibilities that were never meant to be yours and lay awake with quiet worry about finances, direction, and whether your life was somehow paused while others moved ahead. That exhaustion was real, and heaven has not dismissed it. You kept showing up when results stayed silent, and you questioned your worth not because you lacked faith, but because you were tired of hoping without evidence. Let your spirit settle here. You were never weak for feeling this way. You were enduring a pressure that was shaping you, even when it felt like nothing was changing. Scripture already whispered this truth long before today, saying, "The Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves the crushed in spirit." Psalm 34-18. You were seen in the hidden moments, and nothing you carried in silence was wasted. The chains of scarcity are breaking. The tide is turning. What once felt like resistance is giving way, and what felt delayed is being released because the assignment has shifted. It is no longer your duty to struggle. It is God's responsibility to provide for you. Just as Elijah was sustained by ravens in a place that looked impossible to others, provision is moving toward you in ways that do not depend on your strength or control, but on divine timing and care. You are stepping out of survival and into certainty, and hope is no longer fragile but anchored. Now listen carefully, because what is unfolding is not about noise or spectacle, but about alignment. You have been sensitive to what others overlook, and that is why your spirit has felt restless, aware that something significant was approaching even when logic could not explain it. The confusion, the waiting, the silence were not signs of abandonment, they were preparation. Delay was shaping discernment, and stillness was training your hearing. Courage you thought was gone is returning, joy is being rekindled, and clarity is settling in your spirit with a calm that does not argue or rush. Relationships that no longer align may quietly fall away, not as loss but as refinement, because what is ahead requires space and focus. The fog is lifting, direction is stabilizing, and acceleration follows alignment. What once took months will begin to move with ease, not because you forced it, but because timing has shifted in your favor. This is not hype, it is recognition. Expect clarity that feels like peace rather than pressure, guidance that arrives as a knowing rather than a command, and doors opening without the strain you once assumed was necessary. And stay with what comes next, because the next part will confirm and unlock what your spirit has already begun to recognize, and you will not want to miss the moment when that knowing becomes undeniable. Chosen one, you have been carrying a weight that was never meant to stay on your shoulders, pushing forward through exhaustion while wondering why effort never seemed to meet reward. Watching the same worries circle back around finances, direction, and purpose until it felt like life was repeating itself without progress. That fatigue did not come from weakness. It came from endurance, from staying faithful while the outcome stayed hidden, from believing even when your confidence quietly eroded and your value felt questioned by silence. Breathe with me. Heaven has seen every unseen step, every decision made while tired, every moment you chose not to quit even when nothing confirmed your faith. The weight is transferring. The chains of scarcity are breaking. The tide is turning. What held you in a loop is losing its grip, and the pressure that once drained you is releasing because the assignment has shifted. The responsibility is no longer on you to force outcomes or carry tomorrow on your back. Provision, timing, and unfolding now rest in God's hands, steady and sure, not dependent on your strain. Scripture already sealed this moment, saying, "At the right time, I, the Lord, will make it happen." Isaiah 60:22. And you are standing inside that right time, even if your eyes are still adjusting to the light. Like Joseph, who was hidden in a season that felt like delay before suddenly being positioned without warning, what looked like waiting was preparation, and what felt like silence was alignment. Take this in. Your prayers are producing now, not loudly, not chaotically, but quietly and precisely. And heaven is responding faster than you realize. Guard your energy, not out of fear, but out of clarity, because your role is no longer to convince anyone of your calling, but to walk in what has already been spoken over you. Unexpected shifts may arise, moments that look like detours or loss, yet they are strategic repositioning within divine orchestration, guided by hands that see the full map of your life. There will be moments of stillness that carry clarity, waves of peace that arrive without explanation, and you will recognize them as confirmation rather than coincidence. Divine timing does not rush and does not miss. It converges, pulling scattered pieces of your past, fragments of prayer, and lessons from pain into alignment. You may feel your inner authority returning, a quiet confidence replacing hesitation, a readiness to move even without full answers, because faith is beginning to speak louder than fear. Old guilt, shame, and doubt are losing their voice, not through force, but through release. And even before circumstances fully change, you will sense freedom rising within you, which is where transformation always begins. People and environments may shift, some fading, some arriving, without effort or chasing, because alignment attracts what belongs. You were never behind, only preserved, and you are arriving exactly on time. Stay with what comes next, because the next part will unlock and confirm what your spirit already knows, and you will not want to miss the moment when anticipation turns into undeniable clarity. Chosen one, you have been carrying weight that was never meant to stay on your shoulders, waking up tired before the day even began, giving effort after effort while results stayed quiet, wondering how long you could keep going like this. The pressure around money, the fear of tomorrow, the sense of moving in circles while life seemed frozen, has tested your spirit more than anyone knows. You kept showing up even when hope felt thin, even when your value felt questioned by silence and delay, and heaven has not missed a single moment of that endurance. Your exhaustion is not weakness. It is proof that you stayed faithful far beyond comfort. Let your spirit settle. Divine order is replacing pressure. The chains of scarcity are breaking. The tide is turning. What has kept you stuck in repetition is losing its authority, and the heaviness that demanded constant effort is lifting now. Scripture has already spoken into this shift. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? Isaiah 43:19. And this new thing does not arrive with chaos, but with clarity and calm. You are not responsible for forcing outcomes anymore, because the center of this season is clear and unshakable. God has taken responsibility for your provision, your timing, and your direction. Like Elijah by the brook, who was sustained without striving, fed in a season of drought by a source he did not create or control, you are stepping into a flow where provision follows obedience, not effort. Let that land. Here's the key. Stillness is not delay, it is alignment. As you release the need to carry everything, peace begins to replace panic, and confidence quietly returns without explanation. You may notice that fear no longer has the same voice, that decisions feel lighter, that clarity arrives without force, and that is confirmation, not coincidence. Even if circumstances do not transform instantly, the internal shift is the beginning of everything changing. Guard your spirit gently, not by withdrawal but by trust, because you no longer need to convince anyone of what God is doing. Unexpected moments may arise, small interruptions or quiet redirections that feel simple but carry weight, and these are not distractions but divine adjustments. You are not late, you are not overlooked, and you are not behind schedule. Heaven's timing is precise, and what has been building unseen is now moving toward manifestation. You will not have to beg for doors to open or prove your worth to be chosen, because what belongs to you will recognize you when you arrive. This chapter is closing without drama, and the next is opening with authority and grace. Remain present, because what comes next will activate, confirm, and unlock what your spirit has already begun to sense. And you will not want to miss the moment when anticipation becomes undeniable assurance. Chosen one, you have reached a place where even rest felt heavy, where trying harder no longer produced peace, and where the weight you carried quietly began to ask questions your strength could no longer answer. You kept moving while your heart wondered how much longer this cycle would repeat, how many more months would pass before something finally shifted, and whether your effort even mattered anymore. Heaven has seen the nights when worry sat beside you, the moments when finances felt tight and the future felt foggy, the inner dialogue that questioned your worth simply because progress looked slow. None of that disqualified you. It refined you. You were never weak for feeling tired. You were human for carrying too much for too long. Stay with me for a moment. This is the turning point. Your season of struggle is over. The chains of scarcity are breaking. The tide is turning. What once demanded constant effort is releasing its grip, and the atmosphere around your life is responding to a higher order than pressure and fear. Take this in. It is no longer your duty to struggle. It is God's responsibility to provide for you. That truth is not poetic, it is structural, and it changes where the weight rests. Scripture has already sealed this reality. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Psalm 23:1. Not because you earned abundance, but because guidance includes provision by design. Here's the key. Release is not passive, it is positional. When you stop fighting to hold everything together, clarity begins to find you, decisions become lighter, and the fear that once shouted becomes background noise. You may notice subtle changes before visible ones, a calm where anxiety used to live, confidence where self-doubt once whispered. And these are not delays, they are confirmations. Even if your circumstances do not transform overnight, your posture has, and that is what moves heaven's response. You are not being asked to prove faith through exhaustion anymore. You are being invited to walk with assurance. Unexpected openings may appear through simple conversations, quiet redirections, or opportunities that feel almost too ordinary to be divine. Yet those are often the clearest signs of alignment. You are not forgotten, you are not behind, and you are not waiting in vain. The responsibility has shifted, the source has changed, and the season has turned. Remain attentive without striving, expectant without pressure, because what is unfolding now carries a different energy than before. The next part will not just explain this shift, it will activate and confirm what your spirit is already recognizing, and staying with this moment will matter more than you realize. You do not need to fix yourself, prove anything, or carry one more burden to be worthy of what is unfolding. You are invited, right now, to allow yourself to pause and soften your grip on the parts of life you have been holding too tightly. In this season, alignment begins not with effort, but with permission. Permission to rest your nervous system, to unclench your jaw, to notice your breath without trying to change it, and to let your body remember that it is safe to slow down. You might allow yourself, once or twice a day, to step away from noise for just a few minutes, not to solve anything, but to sit quietly and acknowledge that you are held even when nothing is being accomplished. You are invited to notice where your days have been filled with pressure and gently create a little space. Perhaps by clearing one small surface in your home, or by choosing one moment in the morning where you begin without rushing, allowing peace to set the tone instead of urgency. Trust can look very simple here, like letting a worry rise without immediately answering it, or writing down a concern and setting it aside, trusting that it does not need your constant attention to be handled. Release does not require dramatic gestures. It can be as subtle as recognizing an old belief that says everything depends on you, and quietly letting that belief loosen its hold as you remind yourself that divine care is already in motion. You are invited to receive by paying attention to small signs of support, a timely message, an unexpected calm, a solution that arrives without force, and allowing yourself to accept these moments without questioning whether you deserve them. Rest in this season is not withdrawal but preparation, a way of making room so that what is meant for you has space to land. Alignment is choosing not to react from fear, even when fear visits, and instead returning to a grounded sense of presence, trusting that what needs to move will move without you pushing it. As you move through your days, you don't need to do more, know more, or become someone else. You only need to stay open, attentive, and willing to be guided one gentle step at a time. You do not need to understand the entire path or control the outcome, because what is meant for you will arrive in its proper time, carried by grace rather than effort, and you are allowed to rest in that assurance now. What you have felt moving through this message is real, and it matters. The quiet recognition in your spirit, the moments of emotion, the sense of being seen without having to explain yourself, none of that happened by accident. You did not arrive here too late, and you are not behind where you should be. The path you have been walking, even when it felt slow or unclear, has been forming you in ways that are right for this season. Nothing within you is wasted, not the waiting, not the questions, not the weariness you carried for longer than you wanted to. You are not forgotten, and you are not drifting without direction, even when it felt that way. What has been unfolding inside you throughout this time is part of a larger care that has never let go of you. You do not need to hold everything together now. You are allowed to soften, to rest, to let trust replace striving, and to let peace take the place of pressure. This moment is not asking you to reach for anything else, only to remain present with what has already settled gently within you. If it feels right, stay here a little longer in the stillness that follows, allowing your heart to remain open as we move quietly into the prayer that comes next. As we linger in this quiet space, you are safe to rest here. Loving God, we bring before you the places within us that feel tired and worn, the exhaustion that settled in after trying for so long without clear answers, the worries about tomorrow that kept us awake, the weight we carried thinking it was ours alone to bear. You see the silent moments when strength ran low, the hidden fears about provision, direction, and worth. And we gently place all of that into your care now, not as a demand, but as a release. We thank you that you are already present in what feels uncertain, already working in ways we cannot trace, already sustaining what we could not hold together on our own. Your word says, "Be still and know that I am God." And in this stillness, we remember that we do not need to strive to be seen by you. You are near to the weary, attentive to every breath, faithful even when our understanding falls short. We acknowledge that there were seasons when we felt lost, stalled, or forgotten, yet even then, your hand did not let go. As it was written, "The Lord will fight for you, you need only to be still." And so we allow ourselves to stop fighting what we were never meant to control. Let your peace move gently through the places where anxiety once lived. Let clarity replace confusion in its own time, and let trust grow quietly where fear once spoke the loudest. We receive your guidance not as pressure, but as presence, trusting that you make a way even when the path feels hidden, trusting that provision unfolds according to your wisdom and care. We remember how you led Elijah to the quiet whisper after the storm, and we honor that you still meet your children not only in power, but in tenderness. Thank you for carrying what we could not carry, for arranging what we could not arrange, and for loving us without condition. We rest in the truth that we are held, supported, and watched over, even now. We release the need to have everything figured out, and we place the future into your hands, confident that your timing is kind and your intentions are good. Let this moment settle us into trust, into peace, into a deeper awareness of your nearness. Thank you for sharing this sacred moment together, for staying in this gentle space, and for allowing your heart to rest here. May you go forward feeling accompanied, steadied, and quietly upheld. If you feel gently stirred, you are invited to share in the comments whatever you are carrying right now, a hope you haven't voiced, a quiet fear, a lingering question, a pain you've learned to hold alone, or even a simple word that reflects where your heart is. There is no pressure and no expectation. Writing it down can be an act of surrender, a way of placing it before God with honesty and trust. He sees every sincere word, hears every hidden cry, and nothing offered from the heart is ever overlooked. If this message brought you peace or confirmation, you are also invited to share this video with someone who may need the same reassurance, the same gentle reminder that they are not forgotten. And if you feel led, consider subscribing so you can continue receiving these prophetic moments as they unfold. You are not alone this moment, and your journey are being held in His presence and covered by His grace.